Hello everyone! So if you freeze when you try to speak French, even though you've practiced for months, this video is for you. I know that lots of French learners feel discouraged because they really try hard to speak French. They listen to French content, they shadow native speakers, or they repeat phrases to build muscle memory. But when it's time to speak French, when it's time to say what you are thinking in French, the words just disappear. And of course the words disappear, because here is the problem. Mimicking someone else's sentences does not prepare you to make your own sentences. It's like learning to play the piano by watching someone else's hands. It doesn't work this way. You need to practice the actual skill of generating sentences yourself in the moment based on your own thoughts. And that's exactly what we are doing today. So instead of repeating memorized phrases, you're going to build original sentences with me and focusing on what you want to say. And today we see a tricky point. So when English says, for instance, he is going or he is leaving, you can hear the verb to be in English, you have that is. But in these sentences, French doesn't use to be at all. And that's why you need to think about the idea that you mean to be able to say it in French. So here the idea of going or the idea of leaving. And you need to make the difference with cases where you really need the verb to be in French. So I'm going to guide you to say in French both these sentences with, for instance, he is there, where you really need the verb to be in French, and sentences like he is going to the beach, where you don't say the verb to be in French. So you will learn to make more and more complex sentences, and you will learn to focus on the right idea each time. Because that's the basis to speak with confidence. And by the end of this video, you will understand the mental shift you need to stop freezing when you speak French. So if you're ready, let's begin. So first, let's start very simply. We're going to make complex sentences, but first it's very important to get the basics. And you'll see why quickly. So first, let's say she is in French. How do you say just she is? Elle est. So I'm going to ask you to make sentences out loud in French. And it's very important that you do these sentences by yourself. That's how it works. So don't take notes, but really focus on what I say and really try to make the sentences in French. So here we have she is, elle est. Now, how do you say there in French? Just the word there. There is là. Just là. So now can you say she is there? Just that, just she is there. Elle est là. So far, that's very logical. There is no trap. We have the verb to be, and we really mean the verb to be in she is there. We really mean the idea of being there. So we need the verb to be even in French. So elle est là. And how do you say he is there? Just he is there. Il est là. So same principle, really try to make the sentences and to focus on the idea that you mean. So here, he is there, il est là. If you are really comfortable with these kind of sentences, you can say it a bit faster. And in French, usually when you have il, so a word that ends with a consonant, and actually a pronoun that ends with a consonant like il, Then, if the verb starts with a vowel, you bind the il and the e. So you hear il est là. Now let's say he is going. So here we need to start to be careful. So when you say he is going in French, it's exactly the same as he goes. You just say the verb for to go. You just say goes, but in French. How do you say he is going in this case? Just he is going. Il va. And that's it. That's just that. So when you say he is going in French, what really matters is the idea of going. So in French, you only say the verb for to go, so you only say the verb va. There is no verb to be in French, just il va. And if you need a reminder for the verb to go in French, that word va has the same root as the word invader. The VA of invader is the same word. It has the same origin as the va in French. So, il va. So now let's say just he is going there. How do you say just he is going there? Il va là. And that's it. So for the moment, it's simple, but it's really important that you start focusing right from the beginning on the idea that you mean. So here the idea of going, not the verb to be. So now can you say, she is going there? Just she is going there. Elle va là. So same principle, we have the idea of going, so we say va in French, just the verb for to go. So elle va là. But now let's say she is there and she is going there. So first, how do you say and in French? Just and. And is et. So now let's say she is there and she is going there. So you see that here it's a longer sentences. So when you have longer sentences like this, it's very important to think block by block or idea by idea. It's not a complex sentences, or it's complex because it's long, but if you say it block by block, you say a simple block after a simple block, or an idea after idea. So let's say she is there and she is going there, but really focus on what you say for each block, for each idea. So how do you say in French? She is there and she is going there. Elle est là et elle va là. So here in this sentence, in English, you have twice the verb for to be. You have is there in she is there and is going in she is going there. But in French, you only have once the verb to be for she is there, because here you really mean the verb to be. So, elle est là, mais elle va là. So for the second block, you have the idea of going, so you just say the verb for to go, no verb to be. So, elle est là et elle va là. Now can you say he is there and he is going there? Just that, but again, really think block by block. So he is there and he is going there. Il est là et il va là. And that's it. So that's the same principle, but it's really important that you think and that you focus on what you want to say and that you focus on the ideas. So the idea of to be and the idea of going. So, il est là et il va là. Now, how do you say the verb for if? Just if in French. How do you say if? If is si. Si. So can you say he is going there if she is there? So here we're going to say more and more complex sentences, but still focus on the ideas that you mean. That's how you can say these kind of sentences. So don't rush. And can you say in French, block by block, idea by idea? He is going there if she is there. Il va là si elle est là. So this sentence is a bit more complex because you need to deal with several things at the same time. But that's why you really need to think block by block, idea by idea. Don't rush. It's really important that you understand what you're saying. So here first we have he is going there. So we really have the idea of going. So we say va, il va là. And then if she is there. So here we have the idea of being. So we say est in French. Si elle est là. And at the same time, you need to deal with the he, the she, and the if. So that's why you need to say this sentence block by block. So, il va là si elle est là. Now, what's the word for to leave in French? Just to leave. To leave is partir. So it relates to a departure. But in French, it's an IR verb. So, partir. And when you want to conjugate partir in the present tense, you see that partir is an IR verb, and there are two main categories of IR verbs, and partir is from the category of IR verbs where when you want to conjugate it in the present tense, you need to remove the entire ending, the entire last syllable. Actually, the entire sound of the last syllable. So when you conjugate partir with singular pronouns, you say part. So how do you say he is leaving? Just he is leaving. Il part. And that's it. So here that's the same principle as with going. When you say he is leaving, even if you have the verb to be in English, what counts is the idea of leaving. So in French, you just say the word for living or lives. So you say il part. Now, do you know the word for but in French? Just but. But is mais. Mais. So can you say, he is there, but he is leaving? So again, think block by block, don't rush, focus on the ideas that you mean. And can you say in French, he is there, but he is leaving? Il est là, mais il part. So I think you get it. When you have the verb to be alone and you really mean the idea of being, you say est, so il est là. But then you have the idea of living. So even if you have the verb is in English, in French you say il part. Il est là, mais il part. And now can you say, she is leaving if he is going there? So, she is leaving if he is going there. Elle part si il va là. So here in this sentence, in English, we have twice the verb to be. You have is leaving, she is leaving, and then the is going, in if he is going there. But in French, you don't have the verb to be at all, because in these two cases, you have another idea, the idea of leaving and the idea of going. So you say, elle part si il va là. So can you feel the difference between what you're doing now and just repeating phrases that you have memorized? When you focus on the idea that you want to express, you're building the skill that actually matters for speaking French. And that's why people who've spent months or even years with other methods are finally making progress here. So if you're tired of freezing when it's time to speak, I created a free masterclass that gives you 4 hours of this type of guided speaking. So if you want to continue after this video, the link is in description. But for the moment, let's see a new word. Let's see the word for the beach in French. Do you know how to say the beach? If you know it, you can say it out loud. Otherwise, I'm going to say it. So, the beach. The beach is la plage. La plage. So we're going to say, we are at the beach. But first, again, let's start simply. Let's say just we are. But to say we are in spoken French, we use on to say we. We in spoken French is on. And on works like he and she. So how do you say just we are? On est. So on ends with a consonant, and when a pronoun ends with a consonant and the following word starts with a vowel, you pronounce this consonant. So here it's an N, so we say on est. And I know it's a bit weird, but you pronounce the N as if it was part of the second word. So here of the verb to be. So you say on, and then you say est. On est. And that's how you say we are in spoken French. You never use nous, at least as a subject, except if you want to make a speech. That can happen, but otherwise, in spoken French, in conversations, you always say on. So here, on est. Now, can you say we are there? Just we are there. On est là. So very simple so far. On est là. Now let's say we are at the beach. So in French you say at. It's almost the same word. It's the equivalent. At is à. So just the sound à. You can see there is an accent, but it doesn't change the sound in French. It's just à. So how do you say we are at the beach? On est à la plage. And that's it. Here it's very simple. It's the same words order. On est à la plage. Now can you say he is at the beach? Just he is at the beach. Il est à la plage. So same principle. Here we really have the idea of being at the beach, so we use the verb for to be. So il est à la plage. But now let's say he is going to the beach. So here there's something to know is that when you say to a place, to say that to, you use exactly the same word as you would use to say he is at this place. In English, you turn the at in to when there is a movement, but in French, it's always the same word. The word when you are at a place. In French, it doesn't make really sense to change this little word when there is a movement. We keep it as when there is no movement. So to say he is going to the beach, in French, you say he is going at the beach. It doesn't make a difference. So can you say in French, he is going to the beach? Il va à la plage. So no verb to be in French because you only have the idea of going to the beach. So just il va à la plage. And now let's say we are going to the beach. And remember, we works like with he and she. So how do you say we are going to the beach? On va à la plage. So we say the same va. We have the idea of going, so we don't say the verb to be. And we say va as we say va with he and she. So, on va à la plage. Now, how do you say but in French? Just but. Mais. So, can you say, we are there, but we are going to the beach? So again, here it's a longer sentence. So let's think block by block. Don't rush. Really think, really focus on the idea that you want to say. So we are there, but we are going to the beach. On est là, mais on va à la plage. So one block with the verb to be, on est là, but then when you say we are going to the beach, that's just va, the idea of going. So on est là, mais on va à la plage. Now how can you say he is there, but he is going to the beach? He is there, but he is going to the beach. Il est là, mais il va à la plage. And that's it. So same principle, just focus on the ideas. Now let's say another sentence. Let's say she is at the beach, but she is going there. So you know everything you need to say this sentence in French. You just need to focus. So how do you say? She is at the beach, but she is going there. Elle est à la plage, mais elle va là. Elle est à la plage, mais elle va là. Now can you say, we are at the beach, but we are leaving. We are at the beach, but we are leaving. On est à la plage, mais on part. So same principle, first with the verb to be. We are at the beach, the idea of being. So on est à la plage. And then you need the idea of to leave in French. So part, on part. On est à la plage, mais on part. And now can you say, we are leaving to the beach if she is there. So again, you know everything you need to say this sentence. Really focus on the ideas. So how do you say, we are leaving to the beach if she is there? On part à la plage si elle est là. And that's it. And you just worked through something most learners never practice. Thinking in real time about which idea you are expressing. Not mimicking or shadowing, but focusing on the French idea and building the sentence around that. And your brain worked differently because that's the skill you need to stop freezing when you try to speak. You may know the vocabulary, you may know the grammar, but if your mind goes blank, it's because you've never trained the process, the thinking process itself. So again, if you want to go further, you can join my free masterclass. It's 4 hours of what you just experienced. Guided speaking practice that makes you think in French and make original sentences in French. So not repeating after someone, not memorizing phrases. You will work through multiple grammar points until speaking becomes automatic. It makes you master spoken French, not just understand French on paper. The link is in the description below. It's completely free. Don't get better at mimicking. Don't waste another month on methods that can't solve the core problem. The solution is right here. I'll see you in the masterclass.